welcome to my spoiler review for Ozark Season 4, where once again, it was a real doozy. And let's talk about the big moments before we go a little more in depth with character to character. Oh boy, I love everybody on this show. Obviously, there's the shocking ending where Javi decided to make good on his threat to Darlene because yes, she finally met someone who also likes to shoot first and question the act later, if at all. Darlene has been unchecked for so long and seemed like an unstoppable force, although Javi, being equally unhinged, I guess was the appropriate one to be the one she couldn't defeat. It was incredible. I did not see it coming. Darlene to me in some ways seemed unkillable because she's been able to escape death so many times before. And I guess she bought into that herself. But oh, Javi got her. He shot her point blank in the chest. I think she's dead. It seemed like they were showing that she was dead, but you never know on this show. But her new husband, Wyatt, that was so sad. He was almost out, but I think he truly loved Darlene. I think he loved the family that he had with her. But he's definitely dead because he got shot in the head. So when Ruth goes by, she discovers their bodies, takes Zeke, and goes nuclear. Wow, driving right from the crime scene to the Bird home, demanding Javi's name, as she knows it's the shadowy figure that she's seen around and that Marty has been worried about and trying to, ask for her help, well, at least as a backup, right? And so then, in one of their lowest points, it's getting harder and harder to defend Marty and Wendy, and I really like Marty in particular. I respect Wendy as a character. But I think at the end of the day, they're only out for themselves and really have no loyalty. I would wager even to each other. They pretend when Ruth shows up not to know what she's talking about. Thankfully, Jonah, who doesn't want another Ben situation, he's drawn to Ruth this whole season because of their closeness to Ben and anger over how Wendy had him killed. I thought it was very nice that Jonah gave Ruth the ashes. And so Ruth that she put them in that goat cookie jar. I thought that was just excellent. But he tells Ruth who Javi is, which immediately puts the new FBI deal that the Birds just made, we'll talk about that revolves now around Javi and could finally win them their freedom in jeopardy. I have never seen Ruth so upset. It was incredible acting on the part of Julia Garner. She's been upset on this show a lot of times before, but she reached a new level here. It was incredible. But it was understandable. It was justified because now she has lost everything. Literally. First her father, then Ben, and now her cousin. She even talked this season about how close to being alone that she was, if not for Wyatt. He was also, speaking of literally, the final straw. That's the thing. Marty can be as nice to her as he wants, but between the two of them, she always gets the short end of the stick. It's exactly what Jonah says earlier in the season, and that's that how do we know that Marty and Wendy won't kill any of us or do anything to anyone if it comes down to it. And what has really happened to Marty and Wendy? When Ruth bursts in and, Marty tries to threaten her and she says, what, your whole family will get killed because that's what's happened to her? Those words cut deep because they were true. Marty and Wendy haven't lost anyone that wasn't their idea, right? And they are on the verge of becoming very powerful, legit players in the business and political world thanks to the foundation that Wendy has set up. She got her lawyer involved and he's found out very quickly that he was in the deep end of the pool. I like that character too, but, what did he expect? Wendy sold him on the idea that she could protect him and keep him isolated from the cartel, but come on, that's a pipe dream. Now, I love Marty, but I totally see where Ruth is coming from here. And as I said, it's getting harder for me to defend Marty. Even after he risked his life to protect Ruth when they went to pick up the drugs, right, for the pharmaceutical company, I think, to be honest, that he really didn't feel he was risking his life there. I think he took a very calculated risk, and then it was highly unlikely that the pharmaceutical security guard would actually kill him. Because, how would he cover that up? It would be a lot more difficult. So I don't think that's quite the white knighting that maybe Marty, that it comes across as at first. But I did appreciate that he still did it, though, and he's definitely saved Ruth's life. She's a boss. She came out of there with the drugs. Ruth had a lot of great moments this season, as usual, from her clever ideas on how to run Darlene's business, none of which Darlene liked or appreciated, even though I thought they were brilliant. And also her brief but memorable business friendship with that celebrity chef who she saved from ODing at Marty's casino. I thought that was great, although she did find out somebody else, which we will discuss in a moment. As for Wendy, Laura Linney got an amazing season here as well. This writer's room really knows how to look out for every character, except Charlotte. Charlotte has never been able to have a storyline. But anyway, between Wendy telling everyone Ben is just missing and half believing it herself, and then Darlene with those missing posters, that was a stroke of genius. So I did not think they would handle it that way, and it was brilliant. And then also Wendy trying to set up her political foundation, and as a result, getting into bed with people as bad as Omar Navarro, right? And I think she couldn't have made worse decisions on how to handle Jonah. That was some very bad parenting, right? But it highlights Wendy being very much a person who, like Omar, well, even maybe more so than Omar Navarro, wants to win literally at any cost. Even her own child. The topper, of course, trying to get him arrested to stop him laundering money for Ruth. With Wendy excusing it, making up an excuse saying, oh, well, since he's a minor, when he turns 18, his record will be wiped clean. And of course, her attorney told her, well, not really, but we could shield him. But Jonah still could have done jail time, but Wendy didn't care as long as he was doing what she wanted him to do. Marty, by the way, giving Jonah money laundering lessons when he helped him out of that jam was fantastic. And believe it or not, I have missed the clever accounting scenes where Marty explains his genius, because that's what has been one of the things that made this show so unique. So I liked that. I really missed that. I thought it was great. Then, of course, there's that crazy FBI deal, right? And what's also crazy is that I found myself on Omar Navarro's side. I was like, you bastards, when the FBI changed the deal at the last minute and said that instead of instant immunity and getting out of the life, he'd have to work for them as a double agent for 5 years, and then he would be able to get out of the game. And then the FBI, when Marty and Wendy were like, come on, man. They were like, he's a murderer and a drug lord. He doesn't get to dictate the terms of his transition. And I was like, well, yeah, that's true, actually. Also, the secret meetings in that abandoned mall, very nice touch. I love them. But I was very surprised when Detective Maya Miller, who was appalled that the FBI would have a drug dealer on the payroll and keep him in circulation, arrested him at the airport anyway. Wow, going against her own superiors and putting Marty and Wendy in jeopardy. I guess Marty didn't have Maya under his thumb as much as he thought he did. Good for Maya for doing her own thing, because that's what's gotten Ruth in trouble, trusting Marty and getting, that's working out quite poorly for her. But I do think that Maya is a little naive because her work is quickly undone, and she can now forget any upward mobility at the FBI because I think probably made a lot of enemies. Marty and Wendy, of course, were able to convince the FBI to make the exact same deal with Javi, although they did up the deal to 10 years, right? They were like, 10 years instead of 5 to get out. And Omar got out of jail anyway by helping out by convincing Javi to take the deal and making him feel it was legit. So now, Javi has FBI protection, which makes him even more dangerous. I can't wait to see what he does with that next season. Now, to get Omar to agree to put Javi in power, Marty and Wendy had a kill switch. They said, if anything happens to us or if you don't do this, this is what could happen. And it involved a very thinly veiled threat to Omar's children. And Omar, as he got up, pointed out that he never threatened their children, even though he knew where the crypt was, where the birds had been hiding their money, and he knew that they had stashed the kids there. He knew all along. And this just underscores how truly cutthroat Marty and Wendy really are. They even shocked a drug lord. Did they die in that car accident from the beginning of episode 1? A friend of mine predicted, half-jokingly, that at the very end, Marty would take out his whole family. And he kind of does, as he's the one driving, even though it does come across as an accident. It could be staged, right, for witness protection. We don't know. I'm very curious to see how this show ends, because it needs to be memorable, and it would be hard to top Helen's execution at the end of season 3. Although Ruth's heartbreaking meltdown here comes close, but I still think Helen's execution at the end with all the brains and blood on Marty and Wendy is still the most shocking ending they've had. And they have to top that for the series finale. Other questions for season 4? How's that private detective looking for Helen? How's that storyline going to play out? It started to get interesting towards the end. And I think Ruth's, although everybody is giving him way too much, that's a situation that needs to be taken care of. And I think Ruth's sweet friendship and perhaps flirtation with Frank Cosgrove Jr. is a fantastic development. I think they said he got his manhood back because, of course, Darlene shot it off in a previous season. They are very similar, and I thought their apologizing to each other for their tempers was really adorable. So what did you think of season 4, part 1? And what are your hopes for part 2, which, as many of you pointed out, is indeed going to be another 7 episodes? I think it's fine. I'm happy about it, but that's really seasons 4 and 5, quite frankly. I don't know why they're calling it season 4, part 1 and 2. So share your thoughts. I mean, this felt like a full season to me, and it was fabulous. All right, so share your thoughts and your hopes for the next season down below. Subscribe today. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.